Hello there, welcome back to another Get Ready With Me video featuring all drugstore makeup. And I have a bunch of new products from the drugstore. Every time I turn around, I'm sure you feel this way, there is a new product being launched. I actually have so many new drugstore products to share with you. I'm gonna have to do this in at least two separate videos. So today I'm gonna be focusing on the e.l.f. Electric Mood Collection. They sent me a very generous PR package with all of the products in this collection. We're gonna be going through that whole collection together. I also have a new bronzer and highlighter from Essence. I've got a new eyeshadow primer from Burt's Bees. So I have kind of a conglomeration of new things. And then those places where I don't have something brand new, I'll just fill it in with something else from the drugstore. So we better get started, but as we do, if you're new here, be sure you hit that subscribe button. All right, so starting off, I am going to apply an eyeshadow primer. I have used this several times. This is the Burt's Bees eyeshadow primer, and it just says 002 primer. So I think they've come out with some cream eyeshadows as well. But this one was a little misleading. When I first opened this pot, it looked like it was dry and cracked. And then I put my finger in it and it was very soft and smooth. It looks like it's going to have color, but in fact, as you're seeing it go on my eyes, it really doesn't. All right, while that sits, I am going to apply the Catrice True Skin Foundation. This is not new to me, but if you've not heard of this, it is wonderful. And in fact, it's my current favorite from the drugstore. I am wearing the shade 40 Neutral Hazel, and it is hydrating foundation with hyaluronic acid and long wear. Even though I am a combo oily skin girl, I can still get away with this. I put about 2 pumps on, and I'm gonna use my Stands Out sponge. As you know, I have been a fan of these sponges, and they so generously sent me a new sponge, so that's why mine is more white. And the other ones you've seen from me have turned a little bit of a yellow color, but if you're not familiar with these sponges, it is the most unique sponge on the market. It's a memory foam type of product, but I have a memory foam mattress and this is very different. I thought maybe I just need to cut up my memory foam mattress. No, you won't get the same effect. But what I love about this sponge is after your initial 4 to 5 uses of using it damp, you no longer have to wet it, and it gives you a wonderful kind of full coverage airbrushed effect on the face. So yeah, that's just a little bit about the sponge if you're not familiar. That worked in very easily. I didn't take it under the eyes. We're gonna do our concealer later, but now let's go back to the eyeshadow. Okay, so given the fact that this collection is called the Electric Mood, and by the way, this collection is kind of a collaboration with 3 different music artists, and this whole collection is like funky colors, and so thus, I decided to put on something neutral because I had no idea where I'm gonna go with this palette today. So, as you see here, there's no brow bone highlight shade. Nope, there is not. So, I am going to use just a little bit of another new product. This is the NYX Can't Stop, Won't Stop Mattifying Powder. This is a really nice soft texture. I'll use this on my brow bone here. I am going to use this on my face later, so I'll make a few more comments about it. Okay, so let's just have a little bit of fun with color. But having said that, we need to start with something neutral in the crease. So let's see, I'm gonna go in first with a little bit of this shade right here. And there are names, but you know how easy it is to read white print on a fluorescent background, fluorescent yellow, green background, yeah. So I'll just point to the names and hopefully that will work. This is a BK 201 brush, and you know what? I forgot in that collection there are 4 different brushes, and I actually washed them and everything. So let's go ahead and use that brush. These don't have specific names, so this one is what looks like could work great in the crease. So let's just continue on with that brush. Definitely a little bit flimsy, but I think think it does the trick here. All right, and then I'm gonna stay with that brush and let's just embrace some color, shall we? Let's go in with this red shade here. And I'm gonna start off real light with this. Okay, not too bad. I have swatched these and I've used a few shades from this palette once. So my experience has been very limited. So we're going to explore a few more shades together today. Okay, so a couple layers of that. It's blended out nicely after a couple of layers of that. Yeah, good pigmentation. It's definitely very red looking at the moment. So now I'm going to go down to this brush. It's very flat on the top, if you can see that, and dense. So let's go in with a little bit of the purple shade right next to that red shade. This is also another matte. And let's just kind of bring a little bit of that purple onto this outer portion of the lid. Tone down the red just a little. So I think I'm gonna work in a little bit of blue in this look. How many of you are like, what? Blue? Let's just have some fun. That's what these get ready with me's are all about, right? I do have a Zoom meeting this afternoon, so oh well, I'll just look really colorful. This is actually kind of a nice brush. I really like it. It felt like it was gonna be hard to work with because it's because of that flat edge, but I think it actually lays down the product a little bit quicker than your typical kind of bullet brush would. And just kind of press it on and buff it out, kind of like that. All right, before we go to the lower lash line, let's add something on the lid. And as part of this collection, there are 2 of their cream eyeshadow sticks. And I actually own a couple of the other shades. So I also pulled out this one just in case we need it. Now the 2 shades that come as a set together are these right here. And so this is kind of the lightest one. It's a real pale pinky champagne color. And then this one is grayish purpley taupe, I think is a good way to put it. Both of them have kind of a metallic finish. And then this is Perfect Pearl, which is the one I owned. I just wanted to see how it compared with that one. All right, so let's use the one from the collection. Let's use this lighter one. And I'm sure these have names on the bottom, but I can't read them. So I will list all the colors down below. All right, so this one definitely has quite a lot of glitter particles. That's not my favorite look on the lid, but we're just gonna go ahead and use this as a base. Let's put a little bit of this pearl shade on the inner corner because I wanted a little more brightness here. So now looking at our palette, there's a couple, like this one is a really interesting duochrome, but it has like a green flash. I'm not quite ready for that today. But I do think, let's see, let's start off with maybe this one right here. Okay, so again, there's no way I can tell you what the name of that shadow is. Ooh, that's pretty. So it has a little bit of a peach tone. Ooh, that's pretty over that cream shadow. It really, really enhances the pigment of that. Ooh, that's pretty. Okay, and then in this outer corner, just to blend, kind of make a little more of a gradation of color, let's go in with this shade right here. So this one and the one right next to it, these don't have huge chunky glitter particles in them. They're more of a soft metallic color. So those are really pretty. So I like that this palette has a lot of different finishes. All right, so let's go ahead and go to the lower lash line. This collection doesn't have any eye pencils, but I have purchased a couple of new colors from the Pixie line, and then I also pulled out this nude color from L'Oreal. So let's start off with this new color I just got from Pixie, and this is the shade Deep Plum. I've actually not used this on my eyes yet. So let's use a little bit of this in the lower lash line. And I love this formulation. It is super soft, so you never have to tug at all. And you do have quite a bit of time to work with these, but once they set, they stay for me all day. So I have really had good luck. Now I do usually set these with a little bit of eyeshadow, which we're going to do in a moment. Okay, I'm gonna press that in with my Morphe M432. Now let's have a little bit of fun, okay? Let's start off with a little bit of this blue shade. I have not even swatched this. Let's just see what it looks like. Oh, it's kind of dry. Well, that's disappointing. Okay, there we go. Once I got going in there, let's look at the one, ooh, the one next to it's real nice. So this might be kind of our fallback if we don't like how that blue looks. And then there's also these two. This one is a really dark purple. Okay, that's pretty. And then this one right here, let's just check this out. Oh, that one's, well, it's a little bit, I think these shimmers seem like they take a little bit of work. Like you gotta kind of dig in there with your finger, warm it up a little bit. Then they seem to start picking up pigment. So let's start with this bright blue. And I like to use this Morphe M432 on the lower lash line because it doesn't, it helps the eyeshadow from flying everywhere and getting into my contacts. So I'm just gonna put this right below the lashes. And because we have that little bit of a pencil kind of smudged in those lashes, hopefully that will help grab this color. Oh, it's kind of fun. The purple tones down the blueness, but I actually like that combination. That's really fun. Okay, on the upper lash line, I'll show you what I did over here. So I'm gonna go back to that deep plum pencil and just use a little bit of this right along the upper lashes here at the outer corner. And I'm going to kind of stop right about where I'm gonna make sure I meet up with that blue coming from the lower lash line there. Smudge it kind of right into the lashes as I get to the center. Then we'll go back to the M432. And I first did a combination of these two purples. So these two kind of shimmery purples. Just kind of tap that on. Now, if you use a shimmer on your lash line, just keep in mind it's not going to look quite as dark because as the light catches it, it won't be quite as opaque as if you were doing just the matte. But then I'm going to go in with a little bit of the matte purple, just kind of go right over the top of it. So it's just kind of a combination of those purples. And then I'm going to go in with this one right here and use this just right here where we stopped with that pencil. Smudge a little bit of that into the lashes. And I just think that color looks really pretty mixed with that lid shade we've got going on. All right, so we've got some color, and then wipe off that brush and go back with a little more of this blue shade just to make sure that we have a little bit of that showing right here on the outer corner. All right, let's clean up under the eyes. I'll just do this quickly with a little bit of almond oil. Next, I'm gonna apply just a little bit of balm to my lips while I finish everything else up. And this is from the Electric Mood collection. This is one of their sheer tinted balms, but for whatever reason, this particular shade is $10. What? I don't know. I like this formulation. I have two other colors from their regular line, and I don't think they were that expensive. This one's expensive. This one has a little bit of some shimmer in it. It's very fine. I do like this color because it's a very neutral color, but have to say I don't know that I would spend $10 on it. Let's get back to the makeup now. Okay, so for my under eye concealer, I'm gonna use the Wet n Wild Incognito Concealer, but first I'm gonna add a little bit of the LA Girl Pro Conceal. This is the Peach Corrector, and I've used this before. It is a very, just a nice thin color corrector, very inexpensive. So if you're looking for a drugstore price color corrector, I don't know that it is very hydrating, but I don't find it to be drying either. So, okay, you know how my track record is with trying new concealers, but let's give it a go. So I have light medium, maybe a little bit light, but we'll give it a shot. Okay, so nice thin doe foot applicator. Formulation feels very thin. I'm also going to put a little bit here. Okay, another thing that's included with the brushes in this e.l.f. collection is this triangular shaped sponge. I actually really like it. It is damp and it does completely double in size. All right, we need a little more. And press this in with my finger. All right, so I would say it's medium coverage. I hear a lot of people rave about this being full coverage. It says it's all day full coverage, but you know, even with a color corrector, I'm still seeing darkness, but we'll let it sit for a moment. Let's go to this Electric Mood Expetition. I don't know how you say her name, but this is the De La Soul Cream Face Quad. It has 2 blushes, bronzer, and highlighter. These are all cream products. So let's go ahead and start with a little bit of this contour shade. I have used this, I think, once, and yeah, I feel like it's a kind of a mixed between a bronzer, and I think though I can get away with contouring with it. We'll try. We'll try it today. I'm just using the Sedonally 602 brush. You can use any synthetic fiber brush for this application. So you can see, I mean, it really, I'm just more pressing it in and it kind of just melts right into the skin. So yeah, I actually like this. And if you hear snoring, it's because my dog's in here with us. He's taking his little nap for the day. One of the many, I should say. Yeah, it's a little warm for contour, but you know, we'll go with it today. All right, right above it, let's go first now with the highlighter. Now this is the one that I'm like, I don't know. I mean, it kind of just, to me, looks wet on the skin, which there are 2 other highlighter products in this collection. I'll show you in a moment. So it's kind of interesting. I'm like, are we supposed to use them all? Maybe if you have dry skin, you're really gonna love this. Actually, I'm not gonna put that on my nose. I'm not a huge fan of this. Let me show you the other 2 liquid highlight / cream highlight products. So this one, which is a glassy skin balm. This really reminds me of the Danessa Myricks one that I tried and returned, because it's basically like a balm, like a clear balm. I don't know, do we add more? But I've used this, just put it on the back of my hand, and it doesn't necessarily dry to a powdery finish or anything. So I don't know, kind of a little mystified. But if you have dry skin and you're trying to add that look of moisture, that would be the way to use a product like that. Now this other one, which I am really interested in using, I'll have to use it on another day just all by itself, but The packaging is a little messy, so every time you push this back in, it pushes product up, and I've already wiped off the top a couple times, but really reminded me, I was like, ooh, this kind of reminds me of like a Hollywood Flawless filter or the new Maybelline 4-in-1 glow stuff. But it does actually kind of set down. Well, why not? Let's add a little more. Let's put some on top here and see what happens. See, I think this one has a little bit of kind of some shimmery glow. So I really liked this. I put it, again, tested on the back of my hand. I haven't worn it yet, but I felt like it actually did kind of sink into the skin. And what does it say about this? It says, this is the new Illuminating Elixir, 2-in-1 face concentrate infused with hyaluronic acid and jojoba oil, promotes a hydrated, natural, dewy glow. So jojoba oil, even though it's oil, it is actually suitable for oily skin types because it soaks into the skin quickly. So yeah, that soaked in really nicely. Actually, I like the way that feels better than the highlighter from this palette. So keep that in mind. So now let's add a little bit of cream blush before we powder. And I do really like the blush colors in here. So this rose and the kind of coral color. I actually like the two of them mixed together, but let's go ahead. Let's do a little bit of the coral first. And I'm going to use this other brush from the collection. I haven't tested this out yet, so let's just see if this works. Ooh. See, I feel like these are more pigmented than the putty blushes. The putty blushes are pigmented, but you have to build them to get the color payoff. I mean, look at that. Ooh, that's pretty. Okay, let's just for fun add a little bit of this rosy one kind of towards the back of the cheeks. Okay, let's add some powder here. All right, going back to this NYX Can't Stop, Won't Stop powder. All right, so I'm going to use the e.l.f. complexion brush. And this is, I will say, it's a very, very soft formulation. And when you put it on your skin, even though there are different shades of it, I don't feel like it makes your skin look cakey or adds too much color. But having said that, as an oily skin girl, this does not keep me matte all day. That can't stop, won't stop. It actually does stop for me. But I know my best friend who has more normal to dry skin. She loves this powder. And people are comparing it to the Charlotte Tilbury. I'll just say that this doesn't work under the eyes like the Charlotte Tilbury does for me. However, I don't use the Charlotte Tilbury all over my face because I feel like that doesn't keep me as matte. So I guess if you were comparing those two aspects of it, it would be pretty similar. On the under eye, before I set anything, I am going to add just a teeny bit more concealer here. Let's add a little drop of this elixir because I feel like my under eyes are quite dry. So let's just add a tiny bit of this to mix that in. We'll just see what happens. While that sits, I'm going to add just a little bit, press in a little more powder here over the pores. And it does initially have a nice kind of blurring effect. But again, I don't feel like that stays very long for me at all. We'll just keep an eye on that under eye area. I'll decide what I'm gonna do later. All right, so I'm gonna go in now with this Essence, the Glowin' Golds. Look at this highlighter. I mean, when I opened this, I was like, what? It's so pretty. So let's go ahead. I'm gonna use a very light hand with this. I'm using the Anastasia Beverly Hills highlighter brush. And I'm gonna tap it off. So it is very intense. Yeah, this is going to be one that's going to highlight texture, so definitely going to want to be careful where you place this. So I'm going to keep this off of my pores, but it is pretty. Okay, and then I'm going to do a trick. I'm going to take my damp sponge, just kind of press that in, and that does kind of help mesh it with your skin a little bit better. And then just for fun, let's add a little bit of this. Now this is also by Essence, the Glowing Golds. This is Vitamin E Baked Luminous Bronzer. Oh yeah, so this one has vitamin C in it, and it's 01 Golden Days Ahead. And then the bronzer has vitamin E in it. So I don't know, always good with adding some extra vitamins to my skin, right? I'm gonna use the BK Beauty 103. And this I know is very, very soft, very powdery. So you really have to go in with a very light hand. It's a nice texture, but woo, real pigmented. So let's finish up the eyes. Let's try a little bit of this on the inner corner. Oh, wow. Yes, this is very, very intense, but wow, it's pretty on the inner corner. All right, you know, my favorite step of the whole makeup application is coming up next, brows. No. Oh dear. Okay, as a part of this Electric Mood collection, there is this eyebrow wax. I haven't tried this yet, but it's truly hard wax. Now, I recently tried a product like this from Patrick Ta, and I was mystified. I'm like, how am I supposed to get this off? And then I read the directions, and it said to actually use a setting spray to wet it and then use your brow brush. I don't know. There's no instructions for this. So let's just try a little bit of setting spray and see if we can get this going. Maybe that's working. I don't know. Okay, so this is another part of the collection. This is a dual-ended brow, well, it's got this spoolie on one end, but then it has an eyeshadow, like a flat eyeshadow brush on the other. Yeah, that seemed to actually work. Okay, and then sometimes, yeah, well, that's actually going back with my finger. Okay, I could feel the hold there. All right, let's spray some more. I'm just using the Maybelline Lasting Fix Setting Spray. I don't know, this is a whole new thing. I've done soap brows before. I've been playing around with hair gel. So, you know, let's try some wax today. Okay, this brow went a lot better. And it looks darker. There's no tint in this wax. All right, we're gonna have to let that sit. I know it has to dry before I can go in with any hope of adding color. So I just have some sparse areas I'll try to fill in. But in the meantime, I'll try for the second time the new Big Mood mascara. What does it say about this mascara? It says next level hourglass shaped brush with endless bristles, bold volume and lift, plus all the length. All right, let's give our lashes a curl here. All right, so here we are again with a very large bristle brush. They're kind of more natural bristles. They look like they kind of go a few different directions, but it is rather large. So, all right, let's just go ahead and start applying this. Okay, one coat on. You know, there's very few mascaras that I love after one coat, so we'll keep building, but it did give quite a bit of lash separation, even though this brush is large. And I should mention, I have let this one kind of sit for, I don't know, about a week, 2 weeks or so after I initially used it. So it's a pretty kind of wet formula. So usually I like those formulas better after they've set for a week or two. in my drawer, kind of drying out just a little bit. All right, so there's 2 coats versus 1. Okay, so I still have some mascara mistakes to clean up. I'm gonna let that sit, but that's 3 coats on the upper lashes, just 1 on the lowers. It was really hard with that big brush to get, to keep it from getting all over, but it's not bad. So I actually definitely like this mascara better this second time I've used it. I didn't care for it all the first time. So we'll see how it wears through the day. I can't remember if it's smudged or not, but let's go back to the brows. I'm gonna attempt the e.l.f. Instant Lift Brow Pencil in Blonde. I'm gonna attempt a pencil over this wax, but we'll see. Sometimes something like this, you need to go in with a pen. Okay, I think I'm gonna switch to, let's switch to the micro brow pencil. This one's in taupe. Yeah, I'm not loving the pencil with that wax. So let's go with our third attempt. I have 2 of the NYX Lift and Snatch Brow Tint Pen. I have ash brown and taupe, and we'll start with taupe. Sometimes this will work and sometimes it looks too warm, but we'll give this a try here. Okay, so there's the brows done. They're very feathery. They're a little intense, but we're gonna leave it for now. All right, one last step just to experiment. I'm gonna go in with this L'Oreal Infallible Pencil. I'm gonna go right here on the lower lash line and place this kind of starting from the inner corner. And then I'm gonna go in with the Morphe M432. I tried using this one, but it's just a little too flaky in this precise application. So I'm gonna go in back to this blue one. It seems to maybe hold together a little better. And I'll go over kind of that portion. And then I'll go into the purple right next to it and just kind of blend that there towards the center of the eye. Last but not least, our lips. So the lips do feel moisturized. Now I will say I feel the glitter in that balm. So don't really love it when that happens. Let's go around the edge of the lips with a little bit. I'm going to use just a little bit of concealer here. I'm tapping in a little bit of powder. This method doesn't work quite as well as the MAC Soft Ochre Paint Pot, but at least it evens out my lip line. Okay, another part of the collection is this, and I thought it was an eyeliner when I first got this set, because of the color. I mean, it's very, very deep. So it's definitely geared for deeper skin tones, but we're gonna make it work today. So it doesn't have a specific color on there, but I'm gonna go in with a real light hand because it is a very brown, deep brown color. And then I'm gonna just smudge that edge a little bit. Now that lip pencil apparently comes in a duo with this lip gloss, and the lip gloss, it says, is infused with coconut oil and shea butter, and it has a huge doe foot applicator. It's a really nice formulation. It doesn't smell. I wish it smelled like coconut, right? This one has lots of shimmer and glow, but it does not feel gritty on the lips. This is a real nice texture and actually pretty long lasting and hydrating. So I actually really like this. And then this I put on my lips once, but I've not actually worn it anywhere. So this is a plumping sheer slick, and you're gonna see, I mean, I thought, okay, it's gonna be sheer. There's a lot of color here. So let me show you. It is a real nice balmy texture. It's not oily at all. Very hydrating feeling. we'll go back with our lip liner now. Okay, I fixed my hair, popped in some earrings, and now one final step I want to do just as a side-by-side comparison. Because I didn't set my concealer yet, I thought this would be a great opportunity just to do side-by-side with the NYX and the Charlotte Tilbury. So I'm gonna just add a touch of the NYX one, tap off my brush on this side. And I'll also put a little more here because I'm feeling like my pores are kind of coming through a little bit. And then I will wipe off that brush really well. And now let's go in with the Charlotte Tilbury Airbrush Flawless Finish Powder. I'll just put a little bit of that on this side. And then I'll also tap in a little bit here over the pore area. So I guess, I mean, an initial application, I can see how they look similar, but I feel like this side just looks a little more flawless than this side, even over the pore section. Can you tell? All right, now here's our finished look. And you know, a little bit of departure again, adding a little bit of color along the lower lash line and then keeping the upper part kind of colorful. But I think it somehow works even with this more bold lip. If you've been intimidated by bright or deep bold lip colors, I do sometimes, not always, but sometimes I think a balm-like texture is an easier way to kind of break yourself slowly into that world. But you know, overall, I love how the look came together. It was very fun trying all of these things. I did enjoy this palette, although admittedly, it's not going to be one that I'm going to be reaching for on its own very often, just because it is missing brow bone highlight shade. It's missing that bright inner corner highlight shade. And it's just going to be one that, you know, I pick up when I want some more colorful looks. But I do like how this look came together. So, you know, it's a good palette. It is very colorful. I do like the cheek products. I think that cheek quad is great. You know, the wax through the brows, I actually think this could be a really good dupe for that Patrick Ta one. So I'm going to keep an eye on that. I'll keep you posted. But everything else, it was fun to use. That mascara, I'm going to continue to work on. So keep an eye out for the August Darlings and Duds. I'll be sure to kind of round up my thoughts on many of these products in that video. As always, all of the products that I used in today's video will be listed and linked in the description box below. Thank you as always so much for watching. I'll see you next time. Bye.